Bam! We're going straight into video 2, bitch. Hi guys, I'm Marley Silva and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Woo! I need a little refresher. I need a little chip break. Ketchup chips are so good. Oh my god. And yes, I did just rub my hands on the carpet like a dirty bitch. I'm a dirty bitch. The perks of living alone. I can do whatever I want. All right, you guys. Vape break. I'm like just, we're between videos, you guys. We're doing a little intermission. Moving on. So in this video, we're gonna be doing a video titled What It Feels Like to Forgive Yourself. And I think that this is such a beautiful title because it's so beautiful and there's so many positives to it. What it feels like to forgive yourself, to release yourself from the guilt and the shame that you feel in regards to situations. I'm literally disgusting. Marley, why are you single? Half of it's because I'm picky and extremely picky as fuck. And the other half is because I just don't give a fuck. All right. So the first point we're going to cover is comparing your actions to others. So when you compare yourself or your success or your stature or your financial capabilities or your family or your friends or maybe some of the limiting factors that you have in your situation in your life at this very moment, right? You can always go up, you can always go down, but when you compare yourself at the position that you're at currently, you are inherently not forgiving yourself. You're still in shame mentality, you're still in guilt mentality, and we all have one life, right? It's like a race. You go from here to here. We all have that timeline, here or here. We don't know where the end is, but we can choose to a certain extent how we get to the end, right? And, you know, one of my exes, I remember he said to me one time, because he was extremely successful for his age. Like he was a pilot, right? So he started school very early. He was a first officer very young. He became a pilot very young. He got his, next first officer job with a major airline very young. He was extremely successful. And I've learned so much from him and I'm still so proud of him. And I wish nothing but the best for him for his journey. Am I going to be a part of his journey ever again? Absolutely not. But am I happy I got to be with him through the progression? Of course, because it inspired me and showed me so many different things. But he said to me one time, I made a comment about the job that I was working and how tired I was and, my hopes and dreams. And he's like, well, you had the opportunity to go to school after and you didn't. And kind of like shamed me and kind of made me feel bad because I had the opportunities and my life just went a completely different direction. So when I left high school, my very first love that I was dating since I was 16 left me. The day that he left me, my mom had a seizure and I was dealing with so much trauma at one time. I still went to my first year of university because I already had everything in a row. I took women's and gender studies. I took sociology. And then I also had a class for marketing, but the teacher was literally psychotic. He was like, you have to step on others to get to the top. And I was like, I'm dropping this class. I can be successful without hurting anyone else. Thank you so much. I get the principle. I get where you're trying to go with this, but the way that you're teaching this is not the approach I would take. So vamonos, bitch. Vamonos. Hasta la vista. I don't know why I'm talking in different languages. So, and my leg's falling asleep. So I'm probably going to freak out about that in like a couple minutes here. But, after my first year of uni, I didn't go back to university. I started working full time. I was living on my own at the time. I was working and working and working. I had like 3 different jobs at that time. I was working for a tanning salon. I was working for a coffee shop. I was working for a grocery store. I had 3 different jobs, one with tips, while living alone. And also dealing with like so many family and friend dynamics, substance abuse issues, identity issues. Like I had so many different things that I was juggling. And when I reflect on that after his comment, when I look back on that, yes, I could have taken the approach of going to school and getting it done, and halfway through my 20s having an amazing career and having everything figured out. But God didn't have that plan for me. God's plan for me was like, okay, you're going to get a taste of everything, and you're going to do so many awful things and make so many mistakes and burn so many bridges and ruin so many relationships and fuck your life up so bad at such a young age that I was able to live that chapter. I was able to weld the top of that grave on it and bury it 6 feet deep because I did it and I lived it and I became better because of it. All of the experiences, oh my God, my leg, I told you guys. Oh, baby boy. All of the experiences, all of the lessons, all of the different, how am I gonna sit like a butterfly? We're gonna sit like a butterfly. All of the lessons, the experiences, the strife, the pain, the substance abuse issues, ruining everything in my life. I needed that. I needed that in my early 20s, you guys. I needed it. If I didn't go through it, I wouldn't be settled and stable and ready to go into my 30s and kick ass for the rest of my life. And I talk about this so much on my channel, where how many people do you see that go to school, do the right thing, get the job, get married, and they're miserable. They have substance abuse issues in their later 30s when they have a great career and all the money to spend. You know, they're in a loveless relationship. Their family controls their decisions and they're still living under their thumb and their family's societal thoughts late into their 30s, you know? I'm happy that I got to bury that in my early 20s. So now that I can be closer than ever with my family, I'm honest. I don't have to share. I don't have to hide anything from them. I can share everything. You know, the friendships that I have are the friendships that I deserve and that I need. You know, the job opportunities and everything that I've been experiencing is all happening in God's timing. And because I went through that at such a young age, I can now go into the latter parts of my life with that experience, with that knowledge, with that awareness to be in a place where I want to be stable, I want to be happy, I want to be healthy, I want to be connected, and I want to have boundaries and learn to do things on my own timeline and to stick up for myself and to fucking stick up for myself. So, you know, everyone has their own timeline. So when you compare yourself to others, you're not forgiving yourself for your past or for what you've gone through. You're hurting yourself and you're continuing to guilt and shame yourself. When you forgive yourself, you're saying, I know that all that happened and I know that I've gone through all of that, but it was for a purpose. It was so that later in my life, I don't have to revisit toxic patterns, relationships, and habits. I don't have to fall off the cliff again and go through that. I know what it's like. I've decided that I don't want to live my life like that anymore. And that's a big chunk of self-awareness. When you can forgive yourself enough to be like, oh, I know what I've gone through and I know what happened to me and I know that I never want it to happen again. You can set boundaries and you can forgive yourself and allow yourself to set your life up so it doesn't happen again, you know? And it's so freaking beautiful. And I got really passionate there and I'm really happy I did, because comparison is a killer. Comparison kills. Yes, sometimes it's important to have idols and have mentors and look up to people, but don't fucking compare yourself to them. You're never going to be them. They have their own lane and their own reality. And you may have your own lane and your own reality and your own niche. Put your own spin on it. Put your own style to it. When you try to copy someone else's reality and you compare yourself to what they're doing, you guys are on different timelines. Your souls have different journeys on this planet. Accept it and do the best with your soul that you can. Ooh, practice a life. This is the next point. Practice a life of grace and peace. So when you forgive yourself, grace is a huge part of that. You have to give grace to yourself when you do make mistakes, when you're not feeling good enough, when you're comparing yourself, because you know, when you forgive the parts of yourself that you're still working on, or you're still fixing, or you're still trying to improve to be better, when you forgive those parts and you give yourself grace, you take your power back and you acknowledge, I may not be where I want to be, I may not have what I want to have, but I'm taking the effort slowly but surely to get there. And the nice guy always finishes last. So give yourself grace. Peace ties into that, because when you give yourself, ooh, my leg's getting more and more asleep. I fucking can't with that. When you give yourself peace, you live in a way where your boundaries and your wants and needs and listening to yourself and your intuition takes precedence over the quick fixes and the meaningless sex and the meaningless relationships and listening to others' opinion when you know it ruins you inside, and having to lie to the people you love because you want them to accept you. When you fuck all of that and give yourself peace and choose you and spit it out for what it is, whether you lose shit or not, you're protecting you. You're protecting your homeostasis. You're protecting your nucleus. Someone commented in the last video and they're like, I love how you compared your inner peace and your self-guidance to homeostasis and nucleus. And I don't even like science. That's the funny thing. It's just in my brain. I think of your body as a cell, and the center of a cell is a nucleus. And when you have homeostasis, you have peace. You have everything balanced. Homeostasis is balanced. I'll put the definition on the screen. It may not play perfectly, but I know language enough to know that it can relate in certain facets. And when you protect yourself inside, right here, your center point, everything else will line up because you're taking care of yourself first. And you can think, well, that's so selfish. That makes me feel so guilty. No. When you forgive yourself, you've already forgived everything that you're already thinking. You're focused on, wait, if I forgive myself and I want to give myself peace, I have to start with how I feel first. And if how I feel first, you know, is turning down that opportunity or turning down those plans or telling people the truth even though it hurts their feelings, they're going to have to deal with all of that, right? I've already chosen peace for myself. And when you choose peace and you forgive yourself, regardless of the external factors, you can always keep that level of neutrality. And that's so important. So important. Ooh, this is a big point. Girl, we are getting deep today. Did I take a thumbnail? Hold on. All right, moving on. Understanding it had to happen to give you the experience to grow and be better. So when you forgive yourself, also, I want to touch on this too because I'm thinking of it right now. People say like, oh, just forgive them. Not for them, but for you. That is true. When someone betrays you, when someone breaks your heart, when someone betrays your trust, when someone does you wrong intentionally, or someone abuses you, people say like, forgive them for you, not for them. And yeah, it is true. You need to have a level of forgiveness inside of yourself to try your best to move on and to bury the hatchet, so to speak. Sometimes I'm a very big believer in forgive but never forget. And for me, I've been practicing more on I never forget, and I probably don't forgive you either. Because as I get into my later 20s, I've realized, and I have a caption on my Instagram, forgiveness is for suckers. Forgiving them is for you, but sometimes you don't forgive them, right? And I sure as fuck am not going to forget, ever. I will never forget the people that have betrayed me and hurt me. Even if it was years ago and you're still in my life, I will never, ever not look at you that way, ever. And that's why being a whole rounded person that's honest, truthful, and always apologizes when I do something wrong, I'm able for people to view me in the way I want to view me, which is me for me. Authentic, genuine, real. They see everything and they never have a reason to look at you differently. And that takes work and that takes effort, being able to apologize when you're wrong and really meaning it. But, you know, my ex in my last relationship, he completely betrayed me. He had said to me for the months and years of our relationship, oh, you know, you're going to get your new pilot job in Toronto. What are we going to do? Multiple occasions over months. It's going to be difficult, but we'll make it work. It's going to be difficult, but we'll make it work. It gets closer. He is accepted with his new job. He goes home for a week, comes back. Oh, I've decided to move home. And there was no communication with me. There was no conversation with me. We did have an argument beforehand because I was processing it in real time. I wasn't going to be fake about it. I was processing it in real time. He made the decision without me. He chose to move home. I had wanted to do a dinner with my father and his father before they left. His dad and him were such a coward. He didn't even tell his dad. I don't even know to this day if he told his dad. He told me he never told his dad about the dinner, and my father invited both of them personally. Complete coward, no humility, no, what was the word my dad used? No decency. Like I can't think of the word right now, but it basically means like, no conscience. Like you don't have any, you're not a man of your word, basically. And they left and I never saw him again. He went home and I never saw his face again. We broke up like 2 weeks later, after Easter, and he left everything in my apartment, not his clothes, but like his speakers, like everything. It's funny. I was actually doing the paperwork with his pen today. So I have to live with that. Right. And that was betrayal. That was the ultimate betrayal. And, you know, as close as you think you're to someone else, or as much as you have the conversations or you try to prepare, nothing prepares you for being completely blindsided and betrayed. And what I've understood is that had to happen. You know, that had to happen so that I could have that experience to grow and be better. And I forgive myself for my part in that relationship. I forgive myself for, you know, my part in it, because if I don't forgive myself and I don't grow and become better, I stay stuck. And no one wants to be stuck in a mentality from a year ago, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. You want to grow and be better. And with growing and being better, you look back on relationships and situations and you have to forgive yourself, because that was all you could give at that moment of time. That was as far as you've met yourself at that period in time. And everything that you're scared of, God will put right in front of you. And, you know, until you face it and you come to peace with it. And I learned that so much at the end of our relationship. I went from having stability to paying all my bills on my own, having no help, meeting different people from different cultures and trying their foods. You know, everything I was scared of coming at me and faced right in front of my face all at once. And, you know, you have to go through it head on and get to the next level. You have to face it head on so you can get higher and progress in your life and with your experiences. So, yeah. Oh, I already touched on that point. Knowing you did the best you could with the knowledge and information you had at the time. So that kind of ties into like, you did the best that you could with where you were at in your life at that time. And I've already forgiven him, like literally when he left, because I knew genuinely deep down that he had to do it for him, and he got to be with family, which he talked about all the time. He never liked this city. I don't even think he liked me. He told me like at least a year before our relationship ended that he didn't care about me anymore. He didn't care anymore. So I've come to peace with that. I still love the happy moments and the little moments and all of those beautiful memories that we had and we shared together in those little times. But, you know, I've forgiven myself and I've forgiven him, because I know that that was just a chunk of where we're at. And sometimes you have to grow apart. That's not the right word. Sometimes you have to grow separately to grow together. And I'm not saying I'm ever getting back together with him, because I'm never getting back together with him ever. He's dead to me. But, like, you have to grow as people outside of each other. And relationships, you either grow together or you grow apart. And we're in different places in our life and we're growing at different timings, and that's it. So forgiving yourself is so important, and giving yourself grace is so important, because if you can't forgive the other person, or you can't forgive the situation, or you can't forgive anything externally to you, at least have it in yourself to forgive yourself, because I promise you it will release so much internal baggage and trauma and guilt and shame that you may feel tied to that situation. I love you guys so much. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys on my next video. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.